Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Free Think Dojo. Last week, I turned 29 years old, and man, it was kind of like a hard hit at that moment. Not nothing too crazy because I know 30 will be even worse. But thinking about getting older in this way, I didn't realize that turning 29 for me would be so kind of impactful. It kind of gave me an opportunity to look back on my 20s that are now almost over. And I'm now seeing a whole new generation of people coming up, which is something that we'll all experience at some point. There's always going to be a new generation behind you, in front of you, and it's so crazy to see different perspectives of people experiencing, let's say, their 20s, right after you were just done experiencing it. It's kind of a trip, to be honest with you, just thinking about it. And I feel like it's part of my duty now as I'm getting older to, put out content like this or go about my life in a way that not only can help inspire the newer generation, but also to just kind of guide them in ways of maybe not making some of the same mistakes I did, but also just kind of consoling them, knowing what they're going through. The world has definitely been crazy, and it's definitely not a secret to anybody at this point. And I know the generation coming up has definitely been through a lot of hard things. My generation, when I was 22 or 21, there was definitely things going on in the world, but nothing like this. And I can't sit here and try to understand what a 22-year-old is experiencing right now because I'm no longer 22. But what I can say is life has a way of testing you. And no matter the severity, no matter the situation, there's always kind of a similar path that we all take. And for me, I try to look at it in a way of dealing with life. A lot of people will fight it. I think this current state of the world and the way that the generation behind me is getting hit hard right now, there's a lot of fighting. They're trying to fight it. They're trying to run away from it. They're trying to deal, or I mean, I guess not even deal with it, but they're trying to just find a way to survive. The biggest thing that I can say is that you're on the right track. I feel like everybody is trying to survive. I mean, even at 29, I'm still feeling like I'm trying to survive. But I think one of the most important things I've learned is to not care so much about the outcome of something. And when I say that, it doesn't mean you shouldn't care at all. But what I mean is you should kind of detach from all the worry you put into the outcome of a situation, whether it's personal or, what's going on in the world. You have to find ways to accept it and then just learn to move with it. I kind of think of it as like a river. If you get thrown into a river and you try to fight the river, you're going to constantly be pulled under. You're going to be running into obstacles. You're going to be, two forces coming together that, are opposing. And when that happens, a lot of chaos can happen. So for me, it's almost like going with the river. The river can take you wherever it's going to take you, but it's going to also be something that you can use. It's going to be the flow of the water you can use to navigate and find another way, find another exit from the river. And that type of philosophy has always kind of helped me process life, especially throughout my 20s. Because I think for a lot of people, you feel stuck. I understand that. I've been there. I still am there some days. You feel stuck with the way that the world is and the way that it's treating you. And you feel like you have to have this rebellious type attitude where you want to fight it. You want to go after it, you want to take it on, and you want to defeat it. It's kind of like when we grew up watching those movies of, the main character going out and fighting the system and winning. That's what we all want. But I hate to be the one to break it to you, but it's not going to happen that way. Now, am I saying you can't fight in life? No, you fight for everything. You fight for love. You fight for your family. You fight to survive. But it's how you fight that I think a lot of people, misunderstand. It's the strategy about it. Coming from a martial artist, a fight is very strategic for two people. When I'm trying to learn how to, subdue my opponent or work within what they're giving me, I can't butt heads with them. I can't power punch, against a power puncher. I have to be strategic in the way that I go about life, in a way that I go about the fight. I remember just a couple of years ago when the world kind of started taking off in a very bizarre way. I imagined, ways and thought of ways that I could fight the system, how I could beat it, going out there and trying to find 50 other, streams of income to fight the system and, the way that it's taking our money, right? I've always tried to find ways to fight the way that life is hitting me, feeling that I can be the chosen one. I can be the one that can overcome it like no one else has before. This righteous attitude was something that honestly I think tore me down even more because what I started running into was failure. And while failure isn't necessarily a bad thing, I was finding out that the failure was not really teaching me anything. It was almost beating me down, but it was more than failure. It was more that I was fighting what was natural in my life to the point where, yes, I was failing dramatically in certain situations, but I was never finding a way to learn from it. I think a lot of people these days are going about their life wanting to fight every single aspect of it, feeling like they can overcome it with just pure grit. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like working smarter, not harder. One of the most impactful ideals that I took on within my 20s was to accept how life is, to accept the outcome of things, to accept that life is just going to be this way. Now, does that mean you have to sit within it and just become the system? Of course not. It's almost like you're trying to understand it before you take it on. That's where that strategy comes in. I have to accept that to make money in my life, I have to work. Now, yes, does that suck? Of course. But to work means that I can also achieve other things that I'm passionate about. Working that 9 to 5 might suck during when you're doing it, but then remembering that it's not about, the outcome of it all. It's really just about the process. You're working for something. And while, yes, that doesn't work for everybody and it still sucks, there's ways that you can be strategic about it. It also comes with life, whether it's work, whether it's dealing with a current affair or something personal. It's really about, I need to accept that this is the situation it's going to be. I can't change it. I can't do anything about it at my current place. If I keep fighting it and trying to, get away from it, it's still going to follow me. What I can do, though, is have a strategy that can prepare for the outcome, that can, once the outcome reaches, whether it's good or bad, I can prepare on how I'm going to move forward. Yes, does it suck to live the way that you do now? Yes, it does. But maybe if you set a goal of saving up a lot of money from working your 9 to 5 and then preparing for once you reach that goal, what are you going to do after? You've already created a lot of stability and you're better than where you were before you set the goal. In all honesty, you just have to stop caring so much. You have to stop putting so much emotion into something that at the end of the day is going to have controllables and uncontrollables within it. And I think that's where a lot of people forget that they have to understand what they're fighting. You have to understand your opponent in life. If you don't understand what your opponent is trying to achieve, how can you even find a strategy to overcome it? Accept what life is. Accept that you have the 9 to 5. Accept that the world is shit sometimes. But then within yourself, dig up that confidence and that courage to prepare, to create a routine that makes life at least a little less unbearable, little less traumatic. And whether that is, going to be personal for every single one of you, whether that is going to be, finding a way to deal with your work, finding a way to deal with, politics and, just the way that the world is, it's going to be a process. But the most important thing is to indulge in the process itself, not the outcome. Invest in the process and find what works best for you. But if you care less about what outcome is going to come from the process instead of just focusing on the process itself, you'll find out that the outcome really doesn't matter because you are ready for anything. Detaching from the outcome has been such a big strategy for me that I think it's definitely helped not only navigate my 20s as I'm about to turn 30 now, but also it's just helped me prepare for life after my 30s. I do not know what my 30s are going to bring. I don't even know what tomorrow will bring, but I know that no matter what happens, I will be ready for it. And that confidence is not something that is built overnight. It took me almost all of my 20s to build up that kind of carelessness for the outcome and just investing within myself, investing in the patience that I have, investing in my own individual adaptable traits and my confidence, really. And I can tell you right now that going into my 30s, I do still have worries, but at least I know, obviously, whatever those worries are, I can deal with it. And we can all deal with it, no matter what happens. So I hope this video stands out to the newer generation here. I promise it's all going to be all right if you just stick to it and just focus on developing yourself as a human being and just detaching from that outcome. So let me know what you think down below, especially the newer generations dealing with all this. How are you coping with it? And what strategy are you implementing to fight head on in a smart way? Once again, I appreciate every single one of you sticking around in the Free Think Dojo with me today. I did take a little bit of a break here just for some personal things, but I am back. Going to be working on some new ideas for the future as well, so be on the lookout there. But also remember to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, share it with your friends to grow the dojo, and I will see you guys next time.